Hi, my name is Gregory Wilson. I'm a Senior Solutions Advisor Consultant with Jedox. Today we're going to talk about the Dynamics 365 F&O with Jedox. Now, Jedox has a 365 wizard that allows you to pull data from Dynamics 365. We're not making any assumptions on the data that we're pulling. It can be the customer's data models, their structures, people, accounts, doesn't really matter. And the wizard allows the customer to quickly resurface that data into Jedox and to flexibly create reports and things as you need to look at it. Now, Dynamics is an ERP designed for transactional processing, and its budgeting component allows for some simple count and dimension-based planning scenarios. But what Jedox does is it greatly extends its planning capability. Typical Jedox scenario includes workforce planning, where you can add employees to a project or try some of the drivers for the salary areas. Also, driver-based sales planning, where you can calculate the top line, where you can change a driver, see what the cost is going to be. Different what-if scenarios. If you want to change a top line thing by 5% or 10%, how's that going to impact your gross margin? And you can have it unlimited in different scenarios, cost allocation models, and many other different scenarios. Now, today, what we're going to be showing is that the 365 Wizard leveraging OData to pull data from Dynamics 365. Okay, basically we connect and we pull the data in, metadata and the data as you need to, the different business hierarchies. But in addition to OData connections, Jedox has a full ETL connection capability where we pull from basically every data source that you need to. Dynamics 365, Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, all the Microsoft products like Excel, Access. We'll pull in CSV files. We can leverage APIs for connectivities. And it's a two-way connection. So if we need to, you build new data, you send it upstairs to another database as necessary. Since it's all inclusive, we're also doing the transformation, the data cleansing inside of Jedox. So if there's errors or you need to see or divide up columns, you have all that capability to basically massage the data as you need to as you load it up. And it can be scheduled as you need to, once a month, every day, on demand, through an alert. You have full control of how you're going to look at the data there. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's take a look at the Jedox wizard here. So this is the Dynamics 365 wizard. You basically will set up your connection. You can just basically put in your certifications as you need to connect. We also could be pulling against Azure Data Lake as we need to. This case, we're going to be pulling general ledger data, so we're going to go to the general ledger wizard. So the first thing it does is say, where do you want to put it? So we've created a Jedox database called 365 Jedox. Inside that database, you can have multiple cubes. I created a cube called GL to load. And by the way, you can pull any number of years or data, time periods of data you want to. We investigate the dimensions that exist in 365. These are the ones that are coming out of there we're leveraging. Okay, but in addition to the ones that come from 365, we can add additional dimensionality that from Jedox, like legal entities or versions or months, so that you can have a larger and more complex model and more flexibility as you need to. Once we have that all set up, we build the model, we see the dimensionality we're going to level, and we just build it, which I just recently did. And then we can view the data. Okay, so now what we can do is view the data from different areas. These are out-of-the-box reports that we can take a look at. Okay, so let's start now looking at some of the data that we have in place. First, I'm going to take a look at it as a rolling 12-month expenses. Now, inside of Jedox, we've accumulated all the data across different time periods, different versions. Like I can look at the budget numbers, for example, versus actual. Okay, we have the ability to drill down to different levels as we wish, pull it back up. We also have the ability to take a look at different legal entities. Okay, so I can look at the US and I'll see the US numbers. Pull that back up as I need to. Similarly, I could do that for different business units. I could do it for cost centers, different departments, really any dimensionality that you want to have in place. And since this is a 12-month forecast and rolling, I can move it forward. So let's move it forward from February. move it up a little bit. Now we're looking at April. So we can roll forward and go back and forth as we need to see the data as we need to. So you get a lot of capability out of the box reporting with Jedox here. Now what I want to do is I want to build some new data. So I'm going to go into simple forecast here. And again, you can see we have the same capability of manipulating it, but I'm going to change my version here now from actual to the forecast 3.9. And that's what I want to start building it out. Now, we can have a little shortcuts here. I'll add that when we're going to copy the budget above. Basically, just copy data. One of the things in Jedox, very easy to move data from one area to another inside the model. Okay. But now what I want to do is that was the budget, but we're going to tweak it a little bit. Let's say first I'll start and say that I want to make that 60 million, just like an even number. Since I changed it there, I want to note that it also changed here. So that's kind of a top-down change, but I can always drill down to the lowest level. And let's say that we think that this number here is not going to be 15, but actually it's going to be 20 million now. Let's change that to 20 million. So if I change that, rolls all the way up here, but also changes up here because this is now a bottom-up change. Okay. So by making changes along that line, you can see the impact. So I can do top-down changes and bottom-up at any level that I need to for any department, cost center, or however you want to. And you can very easily copy the data as you need to. Now make it an even number. Let's make this now back up here. Let's make that a 70 million. Okay, so now we have 70 million. Okay. So far I've been, creating some numbers there, but let's also take a look at how we can leverage data. Okay, now I'm going to go to this planning template. I'm going to show you how that we can leverage data from multiple interfaces, including Excel, Power BI, PowerPoint. Okay. So within Jedox, I have the ability to do those shortcuts I showed you, but also I can have what we call planning assistant. That if you don't know these little shortcut keys I've been using, they're right here. And what I want to do is I can do copies and likes. In this case, I want to do a copy. And what I want to do is I want to pull the last year's actuals as a starting point. So I'll go to actual, and instead of 2017, in this case, I'll go to 2016. I'm going to copy basically actual to budget in 2016 to 2017. And this is literally over 50,000 numbers, and done. And this is not just at this level, but if I drill down, we've done it at all levels. Okay. We also have done it for different legal entities and departments. If I change it USA, we'll see there's some numbers there. Okay, so this is across the board. Now, I could have done this copy at a lower level. I didn't have to do it at the total level. So you have the ability to really work locally at different departments or cost centers and then copy something to a consensus version. Okay. Now, just to kind of keeping things numbers, let's change this again. We'll change this to 80 million. So now it's a little more than last year's actuals. Okay. And this 80 million, now what I want to kind of show you is that this is going to be true across all the interfaces. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up Excel here. Now I have out of the box lots of different views that I can leverage here. Okay, these are built in that you can leverage and play with, but I'm going to go pull up one that I've set up earlier called All LE Plan. And we can see that this is very similar to what we had here. And this is an example. We can build your own reports and templates and styles as you wish. Okay, and now I happen to be in Excel, and there's our 80 million. And here's our 80 million, okay? And just like in the web version, I can expand and get to whatever detail I want. I can drill down, bring this back up. I can again change the legal entities, okay? I can go from one legal entity to another. There's the USA if I wanted to. Same thing, cost centers, it all changes. And in here, I still have the planning assistant if I want to. So I can go up there to planning assistant. I could splash this. Let's say make it 100 mil. Okay, and I'll execute it. Or I could have used a shortcut key like I did earlier. So now that's 100 million there. Okay, so with 100 million, I can see that if I go back to here and change it, we'll see that the 100 million's there. So everything is tied in as you need to, and they're just windows to the same area. Okay, so Now what I'd like to do is show you how Power BI is also another interface that we can work with. So I'm going to go into Power BI here, pull up a little dashboard, and now we can see there's that 100 million that we had earlier. And I go in here and I can change that to say 200 million. I change it, and I could have used the planning assistant if I wanted to. So now it's 200 million. And I can, these are all data and stuff that's coming from Jedox, so I can leverage all the same graphs and things that I want to. But now that we have the 200 million, if I go back to Excel, we can see that there's the 200 million. And if I go back to the web, there's the 200 million. They're all just windows to the same data there. Okay. Doesn't matter the interface, everybody's working with the same set of numbers. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go back to my PowerPoint here. And we can see that we have a view that's very similar to what we were looking at earlier. Okay, but we're in PowerPoint. And one of the things about PowerPoint is that, walk before a meeting, we actually have the ability to update PowerPoint on the fly. So I'm going to get out of the presentation mode and I'm going to go into the Jedox add-in that we added, and I'm going to have it update. And now that we're going to have it update, and now I'll present, and there's our 200 million that came in from Power BI. So PowerPoint doesn't have numbers in it. Excel doesn't have numbers in this case. Power BI, they're all pulling from Jedox, the central source. So Jedox enhances the capability of Dynamics 365 by pulling the data out, allowing you to set up different cubes and strategies where you can look at the hierarchies, set up different scenarios. Built-in ETL can pull from many different sources, including Excel, CSV files, as well as Dynamics 365. We leverage the actual data to come in, lock it down, and then you create a budget, a forecast, or any type of plan you need to. And then finally, that plan, you can do various interactions with it through different environments, such as Excel, Power BI, PowerPoint, etc. All the interfaces are just a windows to that same number, no matter where you are and what you're working with. So if you got any more questions on this, you can reach out to us at jedox.com. Thank you.